Welcome back to Bold of You to Say. We are back with the Society Memorial Special.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got a great show lined up. Let's just jump right into it. Haley, you had a bold claim you wanted to make.
I don't want to start.
You don't want to start.
No.
I'll start. I think we should eat bugs.
Well, that's bold of you to say. Why is that?
All right, so have you ever had lobster or crab or any of the seafood that comes in a shell?
I actively
Yes.
avoid it.
I've
Okay.
had it.
Well-
but I hate the way it smells.
Here's the thing about that. I've recently discovered that crabs technically classify as arachnids, which is a thing that's in the bug family. Meaning that when you eat crabs or lobster, you're essentially eating just a really big bug.
Well, that's bold of you to say. Way to start off the show.
I know, but here's the thing. If we're okay with that and that's not frowned upon, why do we think foreign cultures are so weird for eating crickets when it's basically the same thing, except instead of boiling it, they fry them?
That's very true. We do actually eat a lot of bugs, just not on purpose. Did you see that video about washing strawberries in salt water?
Oh yeah, where it's like Haley was telling me about that when you were setting this up. Was like there's like tiny little bugs and shit all over them and stuff.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the trend is with strawberries, but bugs are in basically any, like, produce that you eat.
Anything that's fresh, as
And,
long as it's not
like,
covered in pesticides.
Regardless of anything you eat, like, even if it's processed, there's going to be bugs from whatever produce it was originally made out of, so...
True.
Bugs
I mean-
are just everywhere.
I mean, what is honey?
That's bee vomit.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's the
I thought
difference,
it was
really?
bee cum.
No, it's bee vomit. Bee cum is the honeycomb. Bee cum is the honeycomb.
Wait, are you for real?
Kinda. It's like a mixture of excrement and honey that they build around the walls.
Well, honey is excrement.
Well, it's the vomit, but this is the other.
Is it like shit or...
It's like shit and cum. If you eat honeycomb, you're eating bee leavings.
Yeah,
eating-
you know, I'm fine with that.
Well, I think that's a good place to end the show today. Thank you for listening. Haley, did you want to jump in with your bold claim?
My bold claim is that back during the 2016 election, Trump was not actually trying to win the election.
Yeah, no one really talks about that anymore. Trump did that as a publicity stunt. That was just supposed to be like the next Trump steaks.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Because at a certain point in 2016, I just vividly remember being like, he's joking, right? And no one was like really talking about it. Like everyone just kind of thought it was a joke or they assumed it was. But then
And now
he
he's
won.
the president.
Yeah, this whole timeline started because like
David Bowie died.
because it happened that started everything. But then like the thing that caused this whole timeline to happen since then, it happened because like of what should have been a footnote in Donald Trump's Wikipedia page.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about. He started running as a joke, and now gay people don't have rights.
It's like that meme with like the dominoes.
Oh, God. It's like tiny domino and then just big domino. Oh, man.
Well, I guess that wasn't much of a bold statement. Everyone
No,
agreed.
Speaking about that, though, like, I could have sworn there was a movie, like, back in the 80s of, like, with a black guy that was the same exact plot. I forget the guy's name. It was a comedian at the time. Had, like, a handlebar mustache.
Richard
afro.
Pryor.
I think that's what it was. He was, like, dating this girl that worked at this legally safe McDonald's restaurant. But the whole plot of the movie was that he came into, like, possession of this large sum of money. But if he wanted to get more money, he had to spend all of that, like, really fast in, like, a year. So what he did is he made a fake presidential campaign. And his whole tagline was, none of the above. And people thought he was, like, anti-establishment and shit. So they started voting for him. And,
Oh,
like,
God.
the whole plot of this movie is this guy, like, trying to get more money out of his uncle's will than accidentally becoming the president.
Yeah, I feel
You know, they
like...
say that life imitates art.
But this was like an 80s movie. I remember it. I remember watching it with my dad. I was like, oh, man, this is kind of funny. But it's like, I can't remember the name of it, though. That's going to bug me. But just look up movie None of the Above. And you'll see what I'm talking about.
What do you think, was going through Trump's mind? Like, as he realized that like, oh shit, I might actually win? Do you think
Oh,
that he
shit, I
started
wanna
like
be the
going with it,
president.
or do you think he like just tried to be more crazy to get
I
less
don't
people
know.
into him?
I really
to be
don't
honest,
know.
I think all of the like leaks of him saying gross shit, I think they were like pre-recorded that he made himself just to make him look worse.
Like, this'll get him.
It's like this will make him stop.
And it's
maybe
like everything
did
he
not.
does. Everything he does just makes his hardcore fans love him that much more.
It's so weird.
Yeah, when he launched his campaign, it was just a knee-jerk reaction because Obama roasted him the year before.
Yeah.
He never saw it coming
Anyone
this
can
far.
be President Obama. See? Oh shit.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to
anybody.
do this? I'm just a businessman. What the fuck?
Barely a businessman.
He's
Yeah,
business
essentially.
adjacent.
He's as much as a businessman as the investors on Shark Tank are.
Oh man,
They
I
have
went
a
through
lot
a
of
phase
money.
with that show.
Who hasn't gone through a Shark Tank phase?
God, I fucking love the European version of Shark Tank. It's called The Dragon's Den, and it just sounds so much cooler.
Yeah, that does sound better, actually.
It's like they have a Irish version of it. I think it's just called The Dragon's Den, but they should have named it like The Spud Farm or something. The Spuds today got their own money.
I think Shark Tank is proof that capitalism doesn't work.
Yeah, kinda.
Because, like, what kind of system is this where you can get so rich that you can just make other people rich on a whim?
Oh yeah, no, it's all about like entrepreneur and shit like that. But it's like, damn, instead of like starting this business and making it up as you go, it's like you have to go to like the richest people in society
Yeah.
and beg them for a handout.
Yeah, Shark Tank is just, it's proof that we don't live in a meritocracy.
It's like, hey Jeff Bezos, I really want to start my own like comic book business. Can I have a couple of dollars? And he's like, I don't see this going anywhere. Why should I invest my money in you? The man who has more money than the universe would allow.
Please, sir, can I have 0.15% of your wealth?
That's too much, Sonny. You cannot have $1 million.
Yeah, also, like, when was the last time an actually good product came from that show? Because I remember vaguely...
Well, Alpha
like,
M went on Shark Tank in
Oh, really?
2014, I think.
A lot of the
And now
products...
he's actually successful. Like, aside from his YouTube channel, he has, like, Pete and Pedro, which is, like, it's like a hair putty thing.
That's kind of neat.
I actually remember, though, like, I'm pretty sure when a product comes from that show, they have to, like, mention Shark Tank in the product description or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
Shark Tank is just, like, the America's Got Talent of capitalism.
Basically.
Yeah. And anyways, I vaguely remember seeing a product once that referred to it, like, starting off on Shark Tank. But since then, I've just never seen anything from Shark Tank.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a rule.
It might
It might be like some kind of cross-promotional thing that's optional, but I mean, none of Alpha M stuff has Shark Tank cross-promotion. The only times that he talks about Shark Tank is when he just explained, like, he tells the story of his experience on it.
Huh. Maybe that's just a thing they do to try and get more... Like more people going and buying that stuff?
Well, because a lot of people watch the show, and it's like as seen on TV.
advertisements.
Yeah,
Stuff,
like
yeah.
it would be like as seen on Shark Tank.
It's like, this was a thing that I brought onto Shark Tank. This was the actual product. Don't buy the knockoffs.
Yeah, I think that would be more promoting the product than the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's like, if you saw, like, Grace VanderWaal as seen on America's Got Talent, you don't think, oh, you know, I like Grace VanderWaal. I should watch America's Got Talent.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
It makes it even
Do
funnier
people
because I
still
don't know
watch
who
Shark
that
Tank
is.
though? Like,
Oh, for sure. People still watch, like, what is it? The fucking show that Trump used to have.
The Apprentice?
Yeah, people
That's
still
still a
watch that.
thing?
Yeah, it's still a thing.
It's
They
still
got
a-
Schwarzenegger on it.
Really?
Yeah, he says, you are terminated now instead of you're fired.
I love that. I love that. I love shows that can just be parodies of themselves.
Oh, yeah, no, like, it's weird. Like, so many shows that you think, like, they don't exist anymore, they're still there. They're just on, like, weirdly obscure news channels
Yeah,
now.
like the Gong Show. They brought that back.
Oh, yeah.
I wish Trump was still on The Apprentice.
Oh, God.
I think
yeah,
that
it's
would
the
be
president.
hilarious.
Yeah, President
You
Trump
are exiled.
still hosting you're deported.
at the very least, they need to give Trump a podcast.
Oh God, no!
Like-
It'd be like Alex
His
Jones
Twitter,
all over
but
again.
vocalized.
Yeah, it'd be like Alex Jones all over again. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, not for anyone's good, but his own.
Yeah, just he's the only person watching it and recording it. Like, man, this guy's got some good views.
Like, Kyle Kalinske brought it up once, but he said that instead of, like, doing all the press conferences and rallies that Trump does, he should just have, like, a 2-hour radio show every day.
Now, here's the thing, though.
He seems like he's coming straight out of AM radio, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, take anything Trump says at his rallies and stuff, and like pretend it's a podcast that you'd hear around here, and it all starts to make sense. It's like, oh, I get it. He's racist.
That was probably, like, his out, because he was like, shit, I accidentally became president. So he kind of turned his press conferences and, like, rallies into his own form of entertainment.
Like, Trump almost starts World War III. People celebrate. It's like, what is wrong with you?
You know how every so often there's people that, like, will post a clip of Trump doing whatever, and they'll be like, is he okay?
Yeah.
Like just
When
recently
he's, like,
there was a
staring
video.
at the eclipse. He's just,
There,
Yes.
oh,
so there was a
hurts.
video. He was doing his commencement speech at West Point, and he was like sipping his water weird, and you know he was. It was weird, but it's like how he always does it.
It's like a lizard.
And then he was like walking down a ramp, and he looked like he was like doing like a little old man shuffle. People thought he had a stroke.
Oh my God.
But I wonder, is he the one leaking all this stuff?
He
And
might be.
to
It's
be
just
like, are they
Secret
gonna
Service
kick?
guys, please record me
Are they
for
gonna
a
kick
sec.
me out yet? Like, I
Jesus.
just want this to be over. I don't want 4 more years of this shit. I can only tweet so much.
He's actually apparently doing really bad in the polls right now.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
I
always
guess
had
that's a
historically
good
low
thing,
approval
maybe?
ratings.
like the only reason why it might not be a good thing is that the other guy is literally a decaying corpse.
Yeah, you were saying before that
Joe Biden's eye literally exploded on stage once,
Oh
and
No,
no
not
one
that.
cared.
I
Like,
forgot.
he was talking to someone and all of a sudden it's like, hey, how do you feel about this? And they look up and his eyes just bright red because there's blood filling up. It's like, Jesus, Joe.
You said it great though when you said that Trump and Joe Biden, they're just palette swaps.
Yeah, like, it's like if you made a game where it's like all the political candidates, it's like Mortal Kombat, and you click Trump twice, the other one's going to be Joe Biden. Because it's like, there's these like posts I saw on Twitter and stuff like
They
where,
both have the same finger-based finishing move.
yeah, basically. But no, like they like someone went through and like got like the bare like essential out of like their viewpoints and stuff like in the most plainest terms what they believe in, and like they disagree on only 2 things, and that's like
I can't even think of what they would disagree on.
gun control, and I think I forgot what the second one was, but like it's basically like what Democrats want compared to like what the conservatives want. Like Democrats are like we want more stricter gun control. And
They only
something
really
else I forgot.
differ on social issues and gun control.
Yeah, and that's the weirdest thing though, because it's like they like all for like these like other things that are problematic that we don't need right now.
You know what? I wish we had the Democratic Party that the Republican Party thinks that we have.
Oh yeah, no,
The one that calls for like open
people.
borders and like socialism and stuff. Because at least then you'd have some left wing representation.
I'm so mad that we basically have the Onion's government right now.
Yeah, for real.
I see Onion articles and I like genuinely sometimes think they're real.
Exactly.
And
I
that's
was
scary.
You gotta follow it's at NotTheOnion on Twitter. They just grab stuff from r/NotTheOnion on Reddit. But yeah, it's a great time.
Oh, I gotta follow them then.
It's real articles, like
That sound
screenshots
like
of real
Onion
headlines.
articles?
Yeah, that seem like they would be.
Jesus.
I'll pull it up right now and we can go through some of them.
Nice. But like no, like fucking the other day I was scrolling through Twitter and stuff, and there was a promoted tweet. I thought it was an Onion thing. I forget what it was. It was like something about like the U.S. like executing people or some shit like that. And I was like, what the fuck, Onion? And I look up, I was like, oh no, it's the Daily Mail. It's like, are you kidding me?
Also,
This is real.
On Twitter, I follow Donald Trump, but I also follow a Donald Trump parody account.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
they're so
can't-
hard to tell the
I
difference.
can't tell the difference from them sometimes.
Oh, I forgot that I was even following one. I was like, what the fuck am I following Trump for?
All right, these are the current hot posts on r/NotTheOnion. All new Ford Bronco debut July 9th falls on O.J. Simpson's birthday.
That's my birthday.
New Zealand government deploys nude porn actors in web safety ad. The porn actors was in quotes. Hobby Lobby returns stolen treasure, quote, Gilgamesh dream tablet, unquote, to Iraq.
These are
What?
real. These are real things. I remember seeing that article, actually.
Oh, this is great. Fox News hosts talk race by calling out the real enemy, Sesame Street's Elmo.
Oh my god!
That I saw that one today. I tell you.
Coronavirus petition calls for UK to declare war on New Zealand, quote, then immediately surrender.
What? Why?
I don't know. Is it like a tax thing?
It might be. Like, I know that in times of war, like, certain things get, like, wavered for a little bit. It's probably a tax thing.
Every day, simulation theory sounds more and more plausible to me.
Sounds more and more welcome. Oh, this wasn't real? This was all just a fake thing?
All right.
Oh,
So
thank God.
if you've ever seen Community, which I know neither of you have, well, Haley, you've watched it, but only the first like 2 episodes.
I saw
That's
a
not
Christmas
true.
special of Community once.
So in Community, in one episode,
For the record, I've seen probably like 10 or 12 episodes.
okay. So in Community, in I think it's like season 2 or 3. At one point they're like having pizza together,
Oh, hey.
and well they order pizza and then it arrives and they like no one wants to get up to get the pizza, so
So the pizza delivery guy
no so the main
freezes to
guy
death.
so the main guy Jeff, he has a die and he throws it up, and whichever number it lands on, it's like, you know, Britta, if it's a 1 it's you, Annie if it's a 2 it's you, you know.
Yeah.
He throws it up, and Abed, who's like, you know, like the weird one, he's like the fourth wall breaking one.
I know this show. I've seen it before. Yeah, I've seen the Christmas episode of this. Abed's like this, like, really kind of Sheldon-y guy, isn't he?
Yeah, like
He's like a
smart,
likable
autistic.
Sheldon.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like Sheldon if he wasn't so horrible.
Yeah, it's like a well-written Sheldon.
Yeah.
So
Not like young
anyway,
Sheldon.
Abed warns Jeff before he throws it up, like, if you do this, it'll create 6 alternate timelines. And
Does
Jeff's
it
like,
do that?
okay. And then the episode, the rest of the episode is like what happens in each timeline, and it's like way different in each one, depending on who gets up.
Is one of the timelines like something really bad happens?
And then oh yeah, I'll get to that. And then
What?
at the end of the episode, the other
funny.
characters, the other characters are like, wait, Jeff, there's 6 sides on that die, and there's 7 of us. So you knew that it wasn't gonna be you. Just go get the pizza, dickhead. So the
And that
rest,
makes
of,
a
so then the
seventh
rest of the rest of the show, it's that timeline. But then there's like references to the worst time or the darkest timeline. And there's like a crossover episode with the darkest timeline, but it's like all a dream.
What is
But
the darkest timeline?
I think we're in the darkest timeline.
What is the darkest timeline?
Well, watch Community and find out. It's available on Netflix now as well as Hulu.
Are we sponsored?
No, I just really like Community.
Oh, damn it.
If you're listening, sponsor us, community.
Yeah,
Hey,
hey,
Netflix.
show that's been off the air for 5 years now. Please sponsor us.
Wait, wasn't Community Dan Harmon?
Yeah, it was made by Dan Harmon.
Yo, Dan Harmon, my boy.
Hey, Dan
Slip us some
Harmon, hit us
money.
up on Twitter.
I like Rick and Morty. Give me cash. I'm Pickle Jerry. Yeah.
Pickle Jeff Winger.
I am. Oh,
And Pickle Haley.
I am made out of cucumber.
What's the next bold statement we've got?
Oh, yeah, next on the-
tangent.
Yeah, so
Welcome to the podcast, kids.
This next one is going to be a mix of me and Jared.
Oh, yeah.
So we just got done talking about the darkest timeline. For anyone that just jumped to this timestamp, I think the only next logical step for society right now is zombie apocalypse. Full zombie apocalypse.
Oh, for sure.
At this point, I wouldn't even be surprised. Nothing surprises me anymore. It's the weirdest feeling.
It's like, shit, man.
But
The whole country's on fire.
And Jared, you had something that you wanted to say about zombies?
Oh yeah, speaking about zombies though, like I feel like the modern media, like games and TV shows and stuff, are just kind of like they just aren't doing zombie like movies or anything good anymore. You know, it's like after Walking Dead happened, every single piece of zombie media has to be like this extremely dramatized thing about like the survivors and stuff.
When are we gonna get funny zombies?
Yeah, okay, Left 4 Dead. Like, when are we gonna get something like that where it's just like a fun game?
Movies.
Oh yeah, no, but those are like how long ago? And then like after Walking Dead came out, it's like everything is serious now. We have to talk about the implications of if a racist guy got a compound together in the zombie apocalypse. It's like, who wants to hear about that?
Yeah, probably
that sounds horrible.
The most fun zombie related piece of media to come out in the last decade or so would probably be Zombieland.
Yeah,
and then they made Zombieland 2, and
it's not bad.
I don't know what to think about it.
It's in that weird middle ground where it's like it's not as good as the first one, but it could have been worse.
I think they tried too hard with it. But again, like, you kind of have to try hard when you decide to make a sequel 10 years later.
Oh, for sure. I mean, look at Star Wars.
I think it has a similar problem as, like, Anchorman 2.
Sorry, I meant to dab, but I accidentally hit my mic.
I think it shows... It gives too much about certain things that you don't need that much information on, and then where you do want more information, there's just none.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much time spent on the side character, Columbus's new girlfriend that they find at the mall, and like she just kind of goes nowhere as a character.
Yeah, there's like no like scene where she just has an epiphany and it's like, oh, I can help like this or anything. It's just kind of like, oh, she's dumb.
Yeah, I really thought that she was gonna be like fake dumb.
Yeah, I did too.
She's just really, really stupid.
From the second I saw her, I was like, no, this can't end well. She's gonna be like, haha, I'm actually really smart and I have stolen all of your things. But no, I guess that was Wichita.
Yeah. Fucking the new girl, I don't even remember her name. I just call her the dumb one. But the dumb one's basically an incel's idea of what girls are like. Yeah,
that's really like the r/nice guys caricature of women.
She was so like overly dumb that it just at that point didn't even feel like real acting.
She made bimbos look intelligent.
It was just annoying.
It was, I can't get over that voice that she had either. It's just the most grating voice.
That's why I thought it was fake. I thought she was...
Hi guys! Like, oh.
The movie ended and I was like, wait.
That was real?
And when she was like... when she was having an allergic reaction, biggest air quotes I can do.
I, by the way, predicted that she was actually having an allergic reaction. And Alex and my sister were like, you're the dumbest person ever. And then I was right.
Well, you're only right because the writers of the movie are also the dumbest people ever.
Wow! To be fair, I also knew it was a nut allergy. She was eating trail mix and started coughing.
See? I'm not the only one.
But it doesn't make sense that she would have the same reaction to nuts that other people have to zombie bites.
Well, I mean, like, you had to think about what the allergy affects and shit. Like, in the Zombieland universe, it's like a fucking neurological and also a what's this part of the body called?
Gastrointestinal?
I guess. It basically, you just vomit up all of your fluids and then you turn into a zombie.
Well, no, they also turn like sickly and pale and they kind of shrivel up a little bit, and that's exactly what happened to her.
Yeah, because of nut.
I guess.
When the nut turns you into a zombie.
But wasn't she bitten? Didn't one of the zombies like bite her in the foot?
Yeah,
No.
but it didn't go through her foot because what's his name pushed her out of the way.
It didn't bite her. It bit her her shoe. I think it was. I'm trying to remember. It was like this weird thing where it was like obviously going to be like a bait and switch at some point. It's like, oh, you don't see the bite. It's only on the outside.
I don't know. It's poor writing, and I stand by that.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. Like, that character is the worst thing I've ever seen.
We're just saying that it was predictable that she was having an allergic reaction.
I can barely remember the movie because there's so much useful or useless information throughout the whole movie.
The only part that I genuinely loved about it is the Bill Murray part.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I want a whole
You mean the
movie.
part at the very end that lasts 90 seconds?
Yeah.
I want a whole movie that's just Bill Murray really happy to kill all of his Hollywood, like, co-actors and
Yeah,
shit.
you know, if they really wanted to make another Zombieland movie, they would have made a prequel with Bill Murray, but I guess that would be too expensive.
Yeah.
But, well, is Bill Murray more expensive than the entire Zombieland cast?
Yes, it's Bill
Probably.
Murray. He's a Ghostbuster. It's Bill Murray. He's Garfield.
I
It's
guess,
Bill Murray.
but it would be worth it to make a better movie, right? It would be Bill Murray. It would start where Zombieland 2 ended with a flashback to Bill Murray at day 0, and then it would just be his, fallout journey through the wasteland.
I have a better idea. It's low budget. The only cost is getting makeup and Bill Murray in the movie. And what it is it's Bill Murray, like, he finds a camera and he starts doing tricks with it, like killing zombies in different ways and stuff. And it's just an hour and 30 minutes of Bill Murray basically having his zombie kill montage.
See, that's what we need.
That's what the world needs right now.
I want some kind of like
The
80s
last 30
style,
seconds is like
just pure action movie with Bill Murray killing zombies, walking away from explosion like I hate Mondays in his Garfield voice.
I want, though, at the end of the movie that I'm thinking, where it's like this like GoPro style, like found footage shit, is like at the very end he pieces all the clips together, he shows the montage, and it's like an epic gamer montage with air horns and everything.
So next on the doc, we have. I wanted to talk a little bit about The Good Place. I have a couple things to say about it. First of all, I think it was accidentally heavily inspired by the Gospel of Judas, and I also think that if the premise of The Good Place was true, then no Christians would get in.
Oh, for sure.
Now the panel is open to discussion. So. Jared,
I've never
have you heard
seen
of...
The Good Place.
Well, you have to explain the Gospel of Judas.
I know the Gospel.
What
Before
should I
discuss
start?
it.
Should I start with the premise of The Good Place, or should I start with the Gospel of Judas?
Well, let's
Start
start
with-
with the Gospel
yeah.
of Judas, where all good stories should begin.
So, I think it makes more sense if I start with the premise of The Good Place.
Okay.
Whatever.
We'll play
So-
it by your rules.
You're the host.
So The Good Place, the way that the universe works, is that when you die, there's like a system that's set up, like some kind of like algorithm that adds up like all of the good things that you've done versus the bad things that you've done. Everything that you have is a point value. It's kind of like Reddit karma, where like if you have enough points built up, you go to the good place.
Or it's
and
like
if you don't,
airline points.
yeah, it's like airline points, where like if you
So
do
if I-
enough
Miles.
good deeds, you get frequent flyer miles, and you go up to the good place.
I got a question. If I have enough good deeds done, can I get a free packet of peanuts?
It's the good place, so if you want peanuts, then yeah.
Should
Yeah,
we
but
give like
can I
spoilers
use
if
my
we
good
reach into
deeds
other
to get-
Yeah,
seasons?
spoiler warning right now. If you haven't seen The Good Place and you don't want it spoiled, never listen to this podcast ever again.
Well, what if I don't want it to be spoiled, Alex? I've never seen it.
Do you want it to not be spoiled?
Well, if I say yes, will that mean you'll stop talking?
Yeah.
Okay, no, never mind. I'm not going to use that power against you.
So, all right, spoilers from now on. Don't complain.
Season 1 through 3.
Yeah, we've only seen up to the end of season 3.
I thought this was a movie.
No, it's a TV show.
It's a really good TV show.
Yeah,
actually.
it's on Netflix if you want to watch it.
All right.
So the way that it works is if you have enough points, you go up to the good place. If not, you go to the bad place. And so the show is centered around 4 people, and they wake up in the good place, except it's not the good place.
But you don't find that out until the end of season 1.
Yeah, so at the end of season 1, they realize that they're all put here, they're put in this place together because their personalities don't mix well.
Are perfect for torturing each
Yeah.
other.
Okay,
Yeah,
so they think they're in heaven, but they're actually in Minecraft's the Nether.
Yeah, so
It's also loosely
the good
based-
place. It's centered in around like a neighborhood that everyone's in, and the architect of the neighborhood, his name is Michael, and they think
like
he's
the
an
Archangel.
angel. Yeah, kinda, and then it's revealed that he's actually a demon, and he pitched this neighborhood as an idea for a new kind of torture for the bad place.
So it's basically you're watching these people who are the testing group for a new product for hell.
Kind
Yeah.
of, it's like a focus group.
Okay.
Yeah. And the main character, Eleanor, she knows she's supposed to be in the bad place because she's like, there's no way I deserve to be here. Plus,
She's
all
like smoking crack with a Glock that has 5 kills to its name.
all the information.
Yeah, I don't belong here, boys.
all the information that they give about what she did on Earth is just not what she did. Like, they got her confused with another person. Not
Yeah.
actually, because it's a setup, but
Yeah, the
Yeah.
idea is that they confused her with a different person with the same name that died at the exact same time. And she buys it.
It's like, okay, I'm fine with that. Good
And-
outcome for me.
So, Eleanor is there, and she's trying to, become a good person so that she actually has a genuine reason to stay in the good place. But in the process, all 3 of the other main characters make it basically hell. Because their personalities are really bad together.
Yeah, so when they present the good place to Eleanor, Michael tells her that everyone gets paired with a soulmate. And her soulmate is this guy, Chidi.
Cheaty?
Yeah, he's from a different
He's
country or
from-
something. He's from Australia.
No.
Okay, I thought
he's from somewhere, but he moved to Australia.
Yeah, he's from...
Somewhere in Africa.
I feel like Eleanor right now, because she never remembered where he was from.
Well,
Oh, shit,
anyway,
yeah.
he's a moral philosophy professor.
Oh, so he should have went straight to hell.
Yeah. The reason that he didn't get into the good place is because he is bad at decision making. He's bad at picking a decision to make.
He's bad at making decisions, so he's damned to hell?
Well, the
No,
reason is that the ways in which he's bad at making decisions is not knowing where to have his friend's bachelor party on the day of his wedding, for example.
Okay.
Or taking an hour to choose between a blueberry muffin and a chocolate muffin.
So he's just really, really bad at making decisions, so we send him to hell.
Yeah.
Well, it's because he affects everyone around him.
in a negative way.
Yeah, but after a while, you've got to realize this is the guy you don't want to make plans with. It's kind of on them.
Yeah, he kind of drives people away a lot.
It's like, oh, hey, would you help me plan my stuff out? Sure, I'm a good, helpful person. What would you like? Well, we have these 2 options. And if you go along with that for long enough that it's your wedding day and you still don't have a plan, then maybe you should rethink what you're doing.
But his friend knows him so well that he did that as a test.
As a test?
He was like,
Hold
Cheaty, you got to pick a location for this, because it's got to be right now. And he's like, I don't know. He's weighing the options, and then he's like, I knew this would happen, and that's why my wedding is actually a month from now.
Well, you see, now that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But,
that's why he's impossible
That's
to
what
be
he was.
around.
That's what he was driven to.
And
Okay.
he has very little self-awareness. So he doesn't even realize that he's making everyone miserable. When he finds out that he's in the bad place, he thinks it's because he drank almond milk after he found out it was bad for the environment.
I mean, yeah, I'd see that.
And so yeah, Eleanor tells him, because she thinks that he's her soulmate, or soulmate in quotes. Real Eleanor's soulmate, fake Eleanor says that, you know, she's not supposed to be here. And so he tries to like teach her ethics and stuff. And they also have two neighbors that were paired together, Tahani and Jianyu. Jianyu is a Buddhist monk, only he's not a Buddhist monk.
He's a dirtbag from Florida.
Yeah, it's well, you could just say he's from Florida. It's really redundant.
I had a splinter and it was stabbing my toe. It's gonna smell a little bad now.
Are we gonna like keep all this stuff about talking about the premise of the show?
Yes.
I don't know, I'm gonna edit this later.
Okay.
We'll use this in the extended edition, all 5 hours worth.
Yeah, this will be the
We're just
Patreon bonus edition.
explaining The Good Place in excruciating detail.
To me, a person who has never seen it and probably won't. I'm bad at watching TV.
So I'll go through the other two really quickly. So Tahani, she grew up in a really rich family. Her sister is kind of like a prodigy. Her parents like pit them against each other a lot, and
So
they have,
why
like, a
did
lot of
she go
unresolved.
to hell?
Well, she did a lot of good things, but it was for the wrong reasons. Like she was doing it to get like good publicity and to make her feel better than her sister and try to make other people think that she's better than her sister.
Okay.
And it was just really selfish, and that's why she got sent to the bad place.
But it's saying that, like... Okay, so
And then-
her
and then-
parents
The
sent
motive-
her to hell, essentially.
The motive behind what you do has to be pure, otherwise it doesn't count for good points in the algorithm.
Yeah, so the reason that I think no Christians would get into the good place,
Well, they all
Is
do it
because-
for their own motive, yeah.
they do it because they think they're getting into heaven.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to when you boil it down. You know, like, do good things not because it's good, but because you'll go to heaven and you'll get eternal happiness and stuff.
That's the problem I've always had with religion, is like, can't you just be a good person for the sake of being a good person?
Wait, hold
Do
on.
you have to like base it on an ancient book?
I got a question then about that other guy, Steely or Cheaty or whatever his name is.
Cheaty.
Cheaty. Like, if it's all based on, like, if you're doing good things and, like, your heart's in the right place, he literally is trying to be helpful, but he's just really bad at it. So they sent him to hell?
Yeah, Cheaty, like you'll see in the show if you watch it, that you see examples of how he's affected other people
Well, yeah.
in really big ways.
But, like, was he doing that intentionally? Like, was he, like...
No.
Well, it doesn't
Yeah, like-
matter if what you do is intentional if it's bad. So if it's bad, you get bad points. And if your motivation is bad but it's good, then you still get bad points.
Think of it like a Punnett square where so there's like a
Yeah.
2x2 grid, right? There's good
Motivation?
action, there's
Yeah.
good actions and bad actions,
Okay.
and good motivation and bad motivation. The only thing that gets you good points is if you do a good thing with good motivation.
So no one goes to the good place.
That's not why, but yes.
Okay.
And so Jason, he's the final one, the final main character. And
And his son said he's named
and
Jason.
and he's from Florida.
He was
Okay,
Gianyu, but it was a mistake.
You don't need to elaborate. I get it. I know why he's there. That's it. That's why he's there.
Yeah, basically, actually.
And so later in the
He's
show,
Florida man.
in season 2, you find out that no one has got. Is it season 2 or
It's
season
season
3?
three.
It's season 3.
Season 2 is basically them spending the whole season. So like Michael and who's the demon
Yeah.
teams up with the 4 because like his experiment fails because every time he runs it, Eleanor finds out that they're in the bad place. But it's supposed to be like going on for like hundreds and hundreds of years.
Does
them
he, like-
torturing each other?
Pay them to pretend that they don't know.
No, so
Oh.
like the reward for them pretending is that they don't go to actual hell.
Wait, so he does pay them to pretend that it's working.
Yeah.
Not with money.
This is
but
like
yes.
every focus group ever.
But in return, he has to let Chidi try to teach him ethics and how to be like a good person, even though he's a demon.
Yeah.
And so season 2 is basically them teaching Michael to be a good person, and he genuinely actually turns into a good person.
Like by the end of season 2 and like when you get into season 3, Michael makes a complete turn in his personality. Like where he like starts to actually care about the four main people, and he gets scared for them if he thinks they're in danger, or if they are in danger.
We forgot to talk about Janet.
Oh, Janet, she's kind of like the Good Place's Siri, but she's like a person. Well, not a person, but she looks like a person. And she like has all of the universe's knowledge, like Siri.
But better, because she actually genuinely has all of the universe's knowledge.
Does she talk like Siri? It's like, hello.
No, she talks like a normal
Dave.
person.
And like Siri, you think she's hot, but Janet,
Janet is hot.
You think Siri is hot?
Well, I'm saying you think Siri's hot, but you don't know for sure because she doesn't have a body.
But it's just a voice.
Yeah? We're just a voice.
Well, yeah, I guess that's a good thing. I want everyone to think of me as handsome Squidward, like after he gets the door slammed in his face.
Dang it. There's nothing better than handsome Squidward.
I know, that's why I took it as soon as I could.
Now, the reason that I think The Good Place is based on the Gospel of Judas...
Wait, we have to explain season 3 first. Because that's how it relates to the
Quick,
Gospel of
Alex, from episode 1, season 1, I want you to explain all of it.
Well, we've explained season 1 and 2 to you, so...
Okay. So what's season 3?
So, season 3, you can fill in the details wherever. So, they get sent... Is it the beginning of season 3 when they get sent back to Earth?
Yeah.
And so, end of season 2...
They basically go to the all-knowing judge, and they present their case, because Michael is like, yo, these people are actually genuinely good, but they became good after they died, so does it count? And the judge is basically like, no.
But let's give him a trial run.
And then Michael is like, what if we sent them back to Earth? And then she's like, interesting, I'm bored, let's do it. So they send them all back to Earth.
And the judge is played by Maya Rudolph. I think that helps get the image in your head.
And they're all sent to Earth. And so they're all sent back to the day that they died. And they all died on the same day, so it's convenient. And
for the plot...
So they all get saved by Michael, but they don't know it. But Michael saves them from dying. And then he goes back to... not Earth, wherever that is.
The good place.
The bad place, the good place, whatever.
The good, bad place.
And so they're all basically just going through another trial run. Like, would they become good people if they hadn't died that day? And they quickly realize that, Michael realizes that all of them need to come together to be good people, otherwise it won't work. But he's not allowed to go back to Earth, technically. So he does it behind their back, and he brings them together with, like, an experiment.
Yeah, so Chidi is...
Does he, like, as a faceless company, pretending to be one, bring them into another focus group?
Well, when they get sent back to Earth, they all have, like, a spurt of, like, being really good. Eleanor starts working for charity. Mm-hmm. Chidi, he realizes, like, I need to get my shit together, and he... puts together his thesis, which he had been working on for a while, but, it was like all rambly and stuff because he's not good at decision making,
Yeah.
It bleeds into everything. So anyway, he puts together his like condensed thesis and he does a talk on it, and Eleanor sees it. She doesn't know him anymore because her mind got erased.
Yeah, I assume they erased the minds.
Yeah.
So they don't cheat.
So, yeah, she seeks him out because she's like, I kind of really need this. I need him to teach me about philosophy, basically. I guess she just knows that she needs to find him, but I don't think she quite knows why.
Well, the reason is because so Eleanor and everyone else starts doing all these good things, but they don't get any good karma from it. In fact, I would say they get bad karma from it.
Oof.
And so they're all like, well, what's the point? I'm not going to do good things anymore. So after Eleanor decides to stop being a good person...
And when she says karma, she means, like, life just not working out for them. Not good place points.
I know that there's no, like, oh, here's a bunch of points for you.
Yeah.
You gotta keep track of your life points.
So Eleanor has given up. She's at the bar. And Michael returns as the bartender.
Oh, nice.
And he's basically, like...
And he's not supposed to do that at all.
Like, the only thing he was supposed to do was save their life, but he keeps going back because he's so adamant about them being together and like doing good things and stuff.
He just ships them all. Just hardcore.
Basically.
Yeah. And so he's basically like telling Eleanor about like he's telling her about stuff that they did when they were together, but she doesn't remember. Like, oh, a friend told me this, where it was like actually Eleanor told him that. But
Yeah. Did she
then-
ever once think, is this guy stalking me?
I don't think so. But then he says something, and I can't remember exactly what he says, but it's the title of one of Chidi's talks. So she Googles it, and then that shows up. So she watches one of Chidi in a TED Talk.
Yeah, that's how she finds him.
So then she hunts him down like a fucking Terminator just
Yeah.
to talk to him.
Yeah, she kind of just spends like her last money on a plane ticket to Australia. Well, I don't know if it's like her last dollar, but like she doesn't have an income anymore.
So you guys know the movie It Follows?
Yeah.
I imagine
That
it's
movie is
like
trash.
that. I imagine it's like that. He like Chidi looks over his shoulder and there's just this like gruff woman walking towards him.
That movie is like a metaphor for STDs, right?
Yeah, because like, you know, ghosts are like AIDS. They are transmitted sexually.
I don't follow, but at the same time I feel like I get it.
Yeah, It Follows.
Alex doesn't follow, but it follows.
Exactly. She gets it. It
So-
being STDs.
Do you think that we've explained enough to go on to the Gospel of Judas?
I forgot that was
we didn't
part of
explain
this.
why no one has gotten into the good place for
Oh,
400
yeah.
years.
So
Is
yeah,
it because it's closed? You need to like pay 100 life points for an exclusive membership deal?
the four guys and Janet and Michael go to accounting, which is where
Oh.
like all the points are added up.
Oh, I thought they
Pause.
were going to like actual
We forgot
accounting.
to tell you that Janet is becoming more and more sentient the more that she hangs out with the people.
Yeah, and she falls in love with Jason, but then his mind gets erased. So
That's
it's
a
like
whole
a whole thing.
subplot, yeah.
But
Ooh.
yeah, so they all go to accounting, and that's where all the points are added up and tallied and everything. And at first they think there's something, like they think the people in the bad place hacked the system, so everyone goes to the bad place. But then they find out that really, the system is working perfectly. It's just, with how things have developed and, the world is connecting and, basically since the Industrial Revolution, everything has been tied together. So, you can't even do something as simple as like buy and then eat an apple, which, would be good for you. You can't do that without also like supporting the pesticide industry.
Oh!
So, like, everything you do has bad consequences tied to it, even if it was a good thing.
Yeah.
By
Like
itself.
if a grandma knits a sweater, you gotta think of where the yarn was sourced.
And where she's giving it. Her grandkid could be the next Hitler.
That's true. That's true.
So everything, like every connection goes into the points for that. So over time, every single action has a negative point value. So everyone goes to the bad place.
God, that's a hell of a flaw to have in a system.
And no one notices it. Like, no one in accounting is like, this is weird.
You're like,
For the
"This is
past
fine."
400 years, everyone's just gotten straight to hell. Working fine. No problem here.
Well, 400 years in their time isn't that long. So I guess it makes sense.
And then they reunite with the judge. They have a meeting with her again. At that point, they're fugitives, by the way. So they have to like, they make a deal to meet on neutral ground.
Hold on. How did they become fugitives to God?
There's no God in this show.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's very non-denominational.
Uh,
So
how
anyway,
did
they
they
become
Fugitives because, like, remember how they teamed up with Michael to keep it a secret? Because if
Did they figure out
Michael's-
Michael was doing it?
if Michael's boss
Okay.
found out that, like, the whole thing was gone to shit and Michael's actually a good
well,
person
they're
now,
fugitives from the bad place because of everything with Michael,
Yeah.
faking the simulation. But also they're fugitives from the judge because Michael wasn't supposed to go back to Earth to help everyone. And then once they know about him, which they do find out about by the end of season 2, they're all accomplices, and they're basically all wanted by the state. The state being the all-knowing judge of all that resides within the universe.
So essentially,
Rudolph.
God.
So anyway, they meet at IHOP, different IHOP. Different IHOP.
Sorry.
Isn't it the interdimensional house of...
Pancakes?
No. Interdimensional...
I don't know what it stands for, but
House of
basically
Parliament.
it's this like pocket dimension where like the judge doesn't have any power, but like no one does. Anyway, it's a safe place for them to meet, and they decide that what do they decide? Like they got better because they were. Oh, they decide that they got better because they realized like we weren't on Earth anymore, so like our actions didn't have these implications. Like you could, buy an apple without supporting pesticide. You could, just do a simple action and then that's it. It's not tied to a million other bad things. They make a deal with the judge where they can set up a simulation of their own neighborhood with new people that they bring in.
And so the idea is that they want to change the system where you're not judged by your time on Earth, you're judged by your time in the good place.
So season 4 is just everyone's in a focus group where they have their own focus groups?
In season 4, it's basically like a repeat of season 1, except it's not the bad place, and it's Eleanor running the show this time.
Okay.
And
I think we're caught up.
Yeah, we're caught up.
And now let's talk about the Gospel of Judas, or in other words, the hidden parts of the Bible.
Yeah, so the Gospel of Judas was...
The plot twist in the Bible.
It's obviously, it was excluded from the Bible.
Because they're allowed to pick and choose what goes in that thing.
It's the Book of Eternal Truth, which was decided upon by a committee of...
people who didn't write the Bible.
People that were around 1,000 years after the Bible was written.
I just love, though, how they basically removed the biggest plot twist in all of human history.
The most interesting part.
Yeah, it's literally a plot twist.
The Gospel of Judas basically flips the story of the Bible on its head.
Yeah.
So, to explain the Gospel of Judas in the simplest terms, Jesus tells his followers that, like, basically what you're doing is wrong because you have incorrect notions of what God is and what I am.
No, he doesn't tell his followers. He brings Judas aside and tells him all this stuff. Like, this is all to Judas only.
No, it's to his followers, too.
To his followers,
I guess
he
they're
starts...
all eating.
He says, like, you don't know where I came from.
Yeah.
And then he goes into more detail with Judas.
He's like, but you do. And he points out Judas, who's, like, eating a stew.
Yeah, so basically... what's either said or inferred from the Gospel of Judas is that there's the Christian God, which was like a fallen like demon kind of from like a greater realm.
A greater realm with multiple gods, right?
Yeah, so God, he's like
He's
his level is
God.
like what Christians think of angels. He's like a helper kind of, but he broke away from like that greater realm to just kind of like start his own thing, his own neighborhood.
Oh my God.
Huh? You see where I'm getting at with this? So God of the Bible is Michael from The Good Place. And then according to the Gospel of Judas, there is like a God, but it's not Yahweh, it's not the Christian God. It's this like amorphous ball of light kind of spirit thing that resides outside of space and time, and that's
the Holy Spirit.
That's really what God is according to the Gospel of Judas.
And that's what Jesus actually represents, right?
Jesus is like connected to that, but he comes from this other realm or what. It's confusing, but
Jesus
anyway,
is like
I think
Gandalf in this story, where he's like that human but not.
Yeah, that spirit, that greater God, I think that represents the judge from The Good Place.
I see.
And I'll leave links to videos explaining. Quentin Reviews did a great breakdown of The Good Place, season 1 through 4.
I think you're gonna say the Gospel of Judas.
And then I'll leave
I'll
leave a couple videos explaining the Gospel of Judas. You can watch it for yourself. The parallels are it's pretty interesting to look at.
I do recommend if you're not gonna do the Good Place stuff, definitely do the Gospel of Judas.
Yeah.
Because it is literally the plot twist in the Bible that they removed.
Oh yeah, it is really interesting.
It just changes everything from that story on, and they remove it.
Yeah, if you think of the Bible from the perspective of the Gospel of Judas, it really makes it puts it in a whole new perspective, in a whole new context. Like Genesis, that's a whole new context with the Gospel of Judas.
Yeah.
Because you don't think this is... I mean, the problem that I've always had with
God was
God
never
and
the
the
bad
Bible,
guy, but now he is.
the problem that I've always had with it is that if you buy into creationism 100%, that's a small universe.
Yeah.
It's just the earth and then the sky and then nothing else. It's just that. It's like back in Minecraft Pocket Edition, before they added infinite worlds. It's like, really, that's it? This 120 by 120 cube area.
When you pull down your pants, really?
But then if you think of it from the perspective of the Gospel of Judas, that the world that implies, it's like God is
he's
just some
literally
henchman on the run.
It also really explains all the fucked up shit that's in the Bible too.
Oh yeah, like Noah's Ark.
Like, if I remember correctly, isn't God the God in the Bible? Wasn't he like some other religions, like lesser volcano god, basically?
Probably.
It was something like the God of Christianity is like a god of mischief or something, and that's why in the Bible you see all this fucked up shit like sacrifice and
he turns
all
a guy's
this stuff.
God
And,
being an incel really explains everything.
And an argument that people always have is like, if God is good, then why does he do all this shitty stuff like cancer? And that
because he's an asshole.
Greatly explains it. Yeah.
Yeah, like God, according to the Gospel of Judas, is like a Judeo-Christian version of Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Or a modern day Redditor.
God's like, you don't have enough upvotes.
Where's your silver and gold, plebe?
On the seventh day, God said, "Edit. Thanks for the gold."
God damn it.
I really felt when I was first learning about the Gospel of Judas, I really felt like Eleanor at the end of season 1. That was like, she was like,
"This is the bad place."
It's like, we're in it. This is it. Oh. It's like in that book they say God made us in his own image too, so does that mean we're inherently evil also?
Yeah, that's basically what it's implying.
That would make sense too.
And that's another parallel to the good place.
And Jesus actually, in the Gospel of Judas, actually called out sacrifice by saying, like, you're sacrificing to the wrong thing.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like, this does not make you look good. All this sacrifice, this is actually like doing more harm than good.
You know what? Now this is making the whole Jesus dying for our sin thing make more sense. It wasn't the sin of people getting like self-realization. It's the sin that we all have because we were born from an evil monster man.
Yeah.
He died so we could go to heaven. Because we were made by Satan, apparently. Someone else is Satan.
Not necessarily Satan. I wouldn't say that the God that's represented in the Gospel of Judas is Satan, but he's definitely not a good person.
He's definitely an asshole.
He's more like...
He's definitely like Michael, though, because Michael, even when he was a demon, he was still likable somehow.
Well, he would put on like a likable persona.
Yeah.
I don't know. The God in the Bible that I've read isn't exactly a likable person. He's
to be fair, though, I think Michael is just likable because he's played by Ted Danson.
Yeah.
And Ted Danson is, and this is a matter of fact, a saint.
Yeah. I remember, though, like, was it Lot's wife gets turned into a pile of salt because she looked at her burning home one last time?
Yeah, how dare you look back at your home
How
that
dare
is
you-
Well, you
burning
say
to the ground?
that the God of Christianity isn't likable, but look at all of his followers.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
gotta
that
see
doesn't
something
help
in them.
anything.
No, that goes back to the argument, though. They're only doing things for God because they think that they're getting some kind of eternal paradise
It's
out of it.
basically all those people that are like weirdly defensive over Elon Musk.
Yeah, because they
It's
think
like
that
he's
they're going to
kind
go
of
to
an
space
asshole,
first.
but like if you're nice to him, maybe he'll send you into space.
Yeah, honestly.
It's like,
Are there any
imagine-
more parallels that we're missing?
There's gotta be. If there are, then I'll cut them in.
Yeah, we gotta.
If I notice any more parallels, I'll record
You
a
just
little editor's note later.
get like
Another
the
40
Zodiac
minutes.
board, putting like pins on everything. It's like Judas was the good guy? Question mark.
Janet equals the Holy
Wait,
Spirit?
who
Question
is-
mark.
Who is Judas in the
Christ.
parallel?
You know, I really don't know. I
Well,
don't
okay,
think
well,
it.
Judas-
Maybe Eleanor?
Maybe because like
That
in
could
the
be true,
Gospel of
actually.
Judas, it implies that Jesus literally tells Judas to betray him. He's like, "You have to do
Yeah.
this. This is the only way." It's like the ending of Terminator 2.
I think Eleanor is Judas.
This podcast is going to be a lot more entertaining if people have seen The Good Place.
Or have read the Gospel of Judas.
So do you want to move on to the next topic? I wanted to talk about the PS5 for a little bit.
Oh yeah, let's do it. I got the X-Bone fridge.
So, I have a couple things that I wanted to say about the PlayStation 5. First of all, I think it's going to be the final nail in the coffin of GameStop.
Oh, for sure.
And so I think, you know, they have the disc, the one with the disc drive and the one without.
Yeah.
And there's no concrete price listed yet. But I think if
I've heard that they have it at 800.
that's what I heard, but that was like the pre-order price on like a third-party website. So
Yeah, so it's kind of up there.
I think it'll maybe be like $600 at the most.
And I don't even know if I want
Because
to.
people don't want to pay that much for a console.
Yeah, like even if the Xbox, I'm a big like Xbox fanboy. I love Xboxes. If the Xbox fridge turns out to be $600, I'm not gonna buy it.
Well, the reason that a lot of people say that they don't want to build a PC or buy a PC is
It's
because
the price.
of the price. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
like that's
you know,
the
if
biggest
you
reason
have
why I don't have one.
if you have an $800 PlayStation versus an $800 PC,
you gotta get the PC.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
do more on a PC.
Yeah.
Like you can't I'm not using my PlayStation to record this podcast, you know?
Yeah, it's like I'm fine with
feel like-
buying an Xbox One because it's only $300 and it runs games at almost the same like everything as a PC can. Because it's up there. They're getting better with how they're running the software and shit. It's not as good, but it's still getting there. You can play games with PC players now and other things. And
Yeah,
it's not that noticeable of a
cross-platform is
difference.
that's a godsend, really.
That's why I like Microsoft so much, because they're just so open about that. PlayStation's still closed off with some things, but fucking Microsoft is like, oh yeah, shove those together.
I kind of feel like the only way you could get away with selling an $800 console is if it was made by Apple.
Essentially. That's another thing. I like to think of, like, Xbox is like the Samsung of the fucking consoles, and PlayStation's like the Apple one.
Because they don't want to interact with any other company.
Yeah, like PlayStation is so just like dead set and like exclusive everything that like it's kind of horrible when you start getting into like the more modern day market where it's like cross-platform and stuff. Like I'm not looking to buy exclusive content because I want to play games with my friends who have PCs. You know?
Yeah.
It's like I'd rather get something that I know they have on their end too.
Yeah. So the PlayStation 5, it's going to have one with a disc drive and one without. If the difference in the price between the one with the disc drive and the one without, and keep in mind the one with the disc drive, it'll play 4K Blu-rays, which is a good value. But I think if it's
I mean, like they do
If
nowadays,
it's gonna-
don't they? Like your PlayStation 4 and your Xbox One can play 4K Blu-rays now.
the
Yeah.
Xbox One S and the One X play 4K Blu-rays. The PlayStation
Okay.
4 doesn't. I don't know about
I
the
got
PlayStation
the S,
4.
so that's why I'm a bit confused. I thought the PlayStation could.
No, the PlayStation 4 plays regular Blu-rays, and I don't know about the Pro.
Oh,
But yeah, if the PlayStation 5 if the difference in price between the digital and the disc version, if it's going to be like $100 or more, then I think more people are going to go with the digital version, and people aren't going to buy physical copies of games anymore. Because, that's just the direction the industry is going in with everything. But I think that'll be the final nail in GameStop's coffin.
Yeah.
Because they're already spiraling out of business. Yeah.
I mean, when you go into GameStop, half the store is now just merchandise and the other half is used games. Like, you can find the new games and it's always like those install codes just hanging on a wall.
You see it all the time with like GameStop, like their locations closing down.
Mm-hmm. It's sad.
It's just going to be made.
It's GameStop.
It's just going to happen faster because of the PlayStation 5, I think.
Yeah.
And good riddance to them. Their business model is so horrible.
GameStop is a horrible company, but I am a little upset to see it go just because, like, that was like the gaming store. Like, you go there to buy game stuff.
Yeah, but I'm also concerned about how it'll affect smaller stores. Like GT Games and Traverse.
I'm worried about them, too.
Well,
like, with how it is.
At least they have the retro market.
Yeah, that's the thing. They sell retro consoles and, like, old games and stuff and disc games for, like, cheap prices. Like, you can buy Grand Theft Auto there for, like, $30 and it's basically new.
Yeah, I'm sure that they'll survive just on their their retro stuff
will for sure survive just because there will always be a market for that because people like retro gaming.
I'm seeing a lot of parallels between like this and like the music industry.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
With how everything's going, digital install is like how every game wants to be done. Like, have you seen I forget what game it was, but I think it was the new Call of Duty. I don't think they have any physical releases of it. It's all just digital stuff now.
Yeah, I believe it. I think the same thing that'll save video games, like physical video games, is going to be the same thing that saves physical music. The retro aspect of it.
Yeah.
Where, like, if you release an album on CD, who's going to buy a CD anymore? But if you release it on vinyl, record players are quirky. They've been in for a little bit now, but more people are gonna buy that for the novelty.
Yeah.
And what would the game equivalent be of that?
Just a normal game card, like a disc or a cartridge, basically.
Yeah, I think if they started putting games on cartridges again, that would be kind of cool. But I think what I mean by retro in that aspect is like the NES Classic.
Oh yeah.
Like Nintendo, no matter what, will still make money off of like selling something like the NES Classic or the SNES Classic. And then retail stores that rely on video game sales, maybe not GameStop, but like places like GT Games, they'll make money off of something like the NES Classic.
It's a win-win.
And, it happens with Nintendo especially, where like, people will buy a physical version of a game that they like because it looks cool on the shelf. It's a collector's item.
Oh yeah, that's
so there's always going to be that. I don't know how many of those are there though for PlayStation and Xbox. How many games are there that you would really want to buy physically for it to go on your shelf?
Series, a lot of them. They look good if you have all of them. Like, if you have all of the Halo games for the original Xbox and 360, like, you can put those on your shelf and it's like, oh, here's like a footnote that was in gaming history for a while.
But what new games are coming out that you would want to put it on your shelf?
Well, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't even matter what console it is anyways, because, like, the new games coming out, no offense to them, but it's like, I don't know. They don't have the same, like, nostalgic style to them that other games have. There's, like, you're just kind of used to seeing games like this nowadays. Like, everything's, like, story driven and it's got like the same kind of like plot beats to it. Like, they all look nice and stuff, but like, I don't know, it's like part of his soul is gone.
Yeah, that kind of brings us to the next thing I wanted to say about it. I don't think Spider-Man Miles Morales should be its own game.
Yeah, it seems more like it should be a DLC.
Yeah, I think it's just a DLC storyline and like, skin pack and everything that they just kind of padded out into its own game. They said it's gonna be smaller than a regular AAA game.
Yeah, that right there should let you know that's.
If they sell it for $60,
you're gonna be mad.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it, but I'm gonna be mad.
Oh my god!
Well, I'm gonna buy it if it comes out for PlayStation 4 because I am not gonna buy.
You got a simp on Sony. You're a simpy. A zombie.
I think I'm done buying consoles just for Marvel games. I bought the PlayStation 4 for Spider-Man PS4
Yeah.
because and I don't regret it. It's a great game, but I don't want to spend, even more money on a PlayStation 5 for new Spider-Man. And, there's an Iron Man game coming out exclusively for PSVR, which I think is a bad business decision.
Oh,
I think
exclusives for VR only, or
For PlayStation VR.
oh, well, yeah, no, completely.
When
Yeah.
he simps for Sony, but he won't simp for you.
Oof. I'm gonna spend $60 on the Sony VR so I can play Iron Man. Hey, can I get this?
Do you
new
think PlayStation
scarf?
VR costs $60?
I know it's way more. I'm just saying.
But yeah, I'm like barely not buying a PlayStation VR for Iron Man, but I'm definitely not buying a PlayStation 5 for Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Hold on, you're debating getting a PlayStation VR for one game.
Look, if someone said, here's a PlayStation VR and it's only like $50, I'd probably go for it, but I wouldn't pay like $300 for a PlayStation
Here's the thing.
VR.
You're buying a VR system so you can play only 5 games on it. 2 of which are the same game. It's just one has guns, the other has swords.
No, it's just for Iron Man.
So you're buying it only for one game, and the potential of 3 other games, except one, and a potential 5th.
I don't know where you're getting
these
these other
2
games from. I just want it for Iron Man.
The other games are Fallout 4 VR and Skyrim VR.
Well, I already have a Rift S, so I would just buy that on Steam.
Doom VR, Resident Evil 7 VR, and then Iron Man VR.
No, just Iron Man VR.
Just Iron
Iron Man
game.
VR.
Is it
So you're
worth
gonna buy
it?
something
It's
that's
not worth it.
You're buying something that's $400
But if
for one thing that's $60.
I don't think you're listening. I'm saying
If it
someone
was only $50,
if
but
someone
you're still
offered-
buying, you're basically buying a $130 like game.
I'm just saying I would consider it. I probably would say no, but it would take me a little bit.
Like,
Key takeaways. Alex is a simp.
Yeah. Like, even I don't simp on Xbox that hard. I only have, like, one of their exclusives, and that's Halo. And who doesn't have fucking Halo? It's Halo.
So you wanted to close with talking about Halo 5?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Speaking about Halo, I honestly think, because, like, Halo Infinite's coming out soon. There's huge hype for that and stuff. Last game 343 made wasn't exactly that, beloved. It had a ad campaign that led you to think it was a different game. And then the thing that they came out with, everyone considers is a steaming pile of dog shit. I think they intentionally made that decision to make a game that is, like, really, really horrible. Just so the next game that they come out with is going to be, like, hyped up and people will pre-order it and shit like that. Because, like, if you look at the trend in Halo games, after, like, the original trilogy ended, and they started doing the other, like, spin-off games and stuff, it wasn't as hyped over anymore. Because it's, like, everyone's just kind of done with that. I think after Halo 2, really, is when they stopped with, like, huge, like, sales figures and shit. And, like, you can see this, like, spiral down. I think Reach peaked up a bit, but after that, it was nothing. And then 343 bought it, and it's, like, been just this dead stream since. So I feel like they intentionally made a bomb so that they can make a game that relies on nostalgia bait, basically, to get more people in. Because, like, if you look at the commercials they've released during the E3 trailers and stuff, all of the things people complain about like it not being related to the original Halo story and how it's like different, all the art style's wrong and everything, it's all fixed in the new ones. It's like they're going back to the Halo ring thing again, and they're going back to one that's mentioned in the old books that they got rid of, and they brought the old art style back and all this other shit. It just seems kind of weird that they're doing it now after the worst game, and now everyone's all excited for this one.
Yeah, it's almost like they learned from their mistakes.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Like, you'd think if you learn from your mistakes, you'd fix it after the first game you make was considered horrible. Like, everyone said Halo 4 was the worst Halo when it came out. And then Halo 5 happened, and everyone called that one an abortion that should have been aborted, but somehow lived. And that's the thing. It's like they saw that no one liked it, and we're just like, you know what? Maybe if we do something horrible, we can bounce back from this. It's like what's that movie? The Producers, where they make a horrible screenplay just so they can get more money off of it later. I think it's something like that, except it's for video game clout.
See, I don't know. I think you're overestimating video game companies' ability to play 4D chess.
Well, I don't know, because these guys were like...
And their willingness to dump a lot of money into something that's going to intentionally fail after the last thing failed, just so they can come out with a competent game that'll look better compared to the last two.
Though,
if they wanted to make a good game compared to the last one, they would have made Halo 5, what you want it to be.
Yeah.
Instead of another dumpster fire.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, though, it's like... It's just a slow go down, and then all of a sudden get back up, and like nostalgia is like what everyone wants and stuff. Just make it really bad, and then give them what you want. So like, there's more of a want for it,
See, I don't know. I think that
this is making a lot of parallels to Trump and Biden for me in my head.
No, that's like saying that Nintendo did the Wii U on purpose.
Well, no, that one wasn't on purpose. That one was just like they wanted to make another Wii console.
But you could say just as plausibly that Nintendo made the Wii U as terribly as they did.
Well, but didn't the
just
Wii
so
U
they could
come
make
out, like,
just so they could make
literally
the
a year
Switch
later, though?
The Wii U came out in 2012, I believe, and that was 6 years after the Wii.
Was it really?
Yeah. So that's like saying that they
shit.
made the Wii U as terrible as it was, just so they could make the Switch and then have that be like the new console that takes over the market.
Oh yeah, but the problem with the Wii U was that the Wii was already, that much of a home console. You didn't want to get the Wii U because you could get all the other stuff for the Wii. Like with this one though, it's like they had all this other stuff set up for like a really interesting thing, and they decided to go against it and make something completely different. It's like what BioShock did for their last game, Infinite, where they have all this like test footage and all these other things that they were going to show you to like drum up interest, and then they give you a different game instead. The only difference is that one doesn't require 4D chess. That one's just like...
But I don't know. I think that's like a reverse of what you were saying that they did with Halo, where they accidentally made Halo 4 really bad, and then they made Halo 5 really bad on purpose.
Well, to be honest though, now that I think of it, I don't think Halo 4 was made bad on like accident. I think it was like a strategic plan that 343 was doing, because what happens is Bungie, which is the parent company, split off from 343 and started doing their own thing with Activision. And 343 is the company that primarily worked on the Halo games. And it's like, this is a small company. It needs to generate income and shit like that. And like, what better way to do it than to try and change things up a bit, and then just like release the anniversary games that people want to see after you get the engine right. And then, like, after a couple of failed games that no one wants, you use the money you got from all the other shit that you got revenue from to make one that gives everyone the nostalgia that they so desperately want. So, like, it's the best-selling Halo game of all time.
I don't know. I think that's too much of a risk. Corporations want one thing. They want money, and they want it now.
Well, yeah.
And the simplest way...
Oh, my God.
And so they would be trying to make the most money that they can, right?
Yeah.
So they wouldn't make something that they know is going to be a commercial flop.
Oh, yeah.
They'd at least try to make something that they think is going to be great. Halo 5, whether you like it or not, they thought it was going to be a hit, or else they wouldn't make it.
I don't know. There's like all this stuff though with it. Like, for example, they released a little video documentary thing explaining how they didn't think the Master Chief was the main character, so they basically had him like sidelined for the whole game.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
In the fourth game, he was the only character, basically.
Well, that's just what happens when you have people that are out of touch with the industry trying to manage the industry.
But the thing is, it's the same writing team. It's just so weird that they go from like all of these games where he's the main character and all this other stuff, and then this one they change everything up in a way that it's not the same game. It's just this weirdly terrible mess. It's like they were seeing a decline, made a flop, so that the next game would be like held in such high regard, people would like.
So like, why is Master Chief the main character? I thought the main guy's name was Halo.
Oh my god, yeah, Mr. Halo. I'm sorry, I gotta call him by his.
Does he cross over with Zelda?
Yes, he does. Actually, no. Now that I think about it, I could have sworn there was a fighting game where they were both in it.
I think they should add Master Chief to Smash.
Yes, I know that. What's it? The volleyball fighting game. I don't know what it's called.
The volleyball fighting game.
Yes, it's.
I'm so lost in this conversation.
It's a mess, just like Halo 5.
That's probably how Jared felt when we were preaching to him about the good place.
Yes.
Everyone gets a turn feeling left out.
Oh my god. Quick, Haley, we must discuss something to make him feel left out.
Well, you said we were going to end on the Halo discussion, but I kind of want to talk about the Midnight Gospel.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, so I'm going to feel left out again.
Well, it's your turn now.
But I already had my turn.
Alex doesn't need a turn because he's the host.
Damn it.
So...
Oh my god,
I'm still grappling with this. I don't know if I feel like the Midnight Gospel is real deep or fake deep. I love the show, and I want to dive deeper into it.
I don't mean to interrupt this train of thought, but I looked over at Alex for a split second. You see where that shadow of his microphone is? Like on his sweater?
I can't see it from my...
Well, I can see it. I thought it was like this pool of sweat that's just going down his front. I was like, Jesus, take it off, man. If it's that hot...
So I'll explain the premise of the Midnight Gospel for Jared and the listeners that don't know. It's a Netflix original, and the concept of it is pretty out there because they've done this before where they take a podcast and turn it into a show or like a cartoon.
Yeah, we're hoping Netflix picks the show up.
Hey, Netflix.
Hey, at Netflix, DM me on Twitter.
So in all those other concepts where they turn a podcast into a cartoon, they animate what they're talking about in the podcast, so it relates. But the Midnight Gospel, they take podcast episodes from a podcast called Duncan Trussell's Family Hour, where they talk about, like, spiritual stuff, religious stuff, and, like, meditation, just, like, hippie shit.
Hippie shit.
And drugs.
Hippie shit.
Yeah. So... but the animation seemingly has nothing to do with what they're talking about in the podcast. It's usually two characters.
So the way that it's animated, it's... I'm sorry, you were getting to it.
The two characters that are in the podcast are animated, but, like, they're walking through a world where, like, there's a bunch of chaos happening around them, and they're just having a conversation while there's chaos ensuing around them.
So, like, for
That's
example...
just going to Minneapolis right now.
So the first episode, it's Duncan who plays...
the main character called Clancy.
Yeah, so he...
Okay.
He's interviewing, like, the president.
Well, wait, I want to back up a little bit. So, Clancy has a simulator, and he can go to basically any world in the simulator. For every episode, he goes to another world to interview someone.
Oh, he goes to another world?
No. In the simulator, he goes...
Oh, he actually goes to another world.
Yeah, and
it's unclear whether he, like, gets teleported somewhere or if he, like... If it's like a VR
slip
thing.
of acid?
No.
If it's like a VR thing.
So it's an actual simulated...
They don't really disclose whether he's actually going to another world or if it's a simulated world.
Okay.
But regardless, he interviews people, and they take it from actual recordings of the podcast.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. And...
Weird way to do it, though.
But you would think that the character's actions would somewhat relate to what's happening in the animation, but it doesn't really. And Alex, I think you were going to talk about the first episode to give a clearer idea of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so in the first episode, Clancy interviews the president in this simulated world.
The president, like Trump?
No,
No.
just the president of the world that he's in
Oh,
that's being simulated.
The vague idea of the president.
And he's
Okay.
like, hey, I heard that you don't like drugs. And he's like, no, like,
So he's interviewing Ronald Reagan.
you mean every U.S. president
Yeah.
since the 70s? So, anyway, he's like,
So,
I
yeah,
heard you
Ronald
don't like
Reagan.
drugs. And then the president is like, no, I never said that. What I meant is, and then they go into like a deeper conversation about like drugs and like the ethics of drugs and drug laws and stuff.
Meanwhile,
while they're like fighting zombies.
So there's a zombie apocalypse happening on this world. And he just so happens to go to this simulated world as it's happening. And he asks the president, can I interview you? And the president just goes with it. And they're walking through this zombie wasteland. And they're fighting zombies while they are...
just
while
having
he's
a
being
casual
interviewed.
debate. To be honest, I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix
And the
if you want to
animation
watch
is
it.
so,
All right.
like... It's
It's
so
like
good.
it's like Adventure Time, but for like grown-ups
it's the
on
same
acid.
creator of Adventure Time.
It's like a kid that, if you watch Adventure Time as a kid, you'll appreciate the art style because it's like Adventure Time on acid.
And it's so, like, it's so disconnected from what they're saying that you could actually, like, mute the conversation and just watch it as its own story.
Huh.
And
That'd be an
I kind of want to go
pet
through and do
project.
that because I feel like that's the next step in me figuring out if this is real deep or fake deep. Because, like,
I think
my
the
theory,
podcast, it's definitely real
yeah,
deep.
the podcast itself is real deep, but the animation around it, I want to find out if that's real deep. Because in my theory is that the animation relates to what they're saying, but in like an abstract, deep way.
Yeah, like they'll be talking about death, and then like in the animation, like the character, the person that's being interviewed will have like a significant other that they're like trying to bring back to life through some kind of like magic, whatever. It's a cartoon world. There's like magic and stuff.
This gives me an idea, honestly. If, like, we have these mics now, yeah. You can use these whenever, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, what if we were to get a couple of those episodes, remove the sound, and then just, like,
A lip
dub
dub.
over them? Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I'm being serious.
Probably
Like,
sounds illegal too, but
well, you upload it onto YouTube and put it under copyright, what is it?
but Duncan
Fair
Trussell
use.
is like
It's
a
fair
really
use.
badass person, so I feel like he'd understand.
Yeah, like, all we're doing is we're
But
literally
does he
changing the
own the
meaning of an art
animation?
piece, which is fair use. It is literally everything in fair use we are doing in this if we were to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I forgot to mention that the end of every episode ends with the character that's being interviewed dying.
Oh, we can do that. It's not too
Well, I'm
far.
saying, like, how
So we're
does that relate to
we're
what
gonna
they're
kill
talking
one of
about?
us
That's
in
what I'm
each
trying to figure
episode.
out.
How well it's
And
related
at the end
because
of the zombie episode,
it's the death of the establishment.
at the end of the zombie episode, they both Clancy and the president both get bit by zombies and they turn into zombies, and when they wake up, it actually turns out that it's like this beautiful world, and like everyone's singing and dancing kumbaya and shit. And
But they're still zombies.
yeah, but they're zombies. But then, like, these people come with the antidote and shoot them with the antidote, and they wake up and they're like, no, like, I wanted to be a zombie. Like, that was so beautiful. And I feel like
There's a message there.
I know, there's a
and I
message
don't know
there,
what
and
the
I don't know
message
it.
is.
Give yourself over to the void.
Like, it
It's-
could be...
I think
related
it's
to how they were
anti-vaccine, to be
No,
honest.
I think it relates to how they were talking about the drugs, but I'd have to go back and, like, deeply analyze it. It's so stimulating to watch it because you can't pay attention to the words and the animation at the same time, so you're kind of going back and forth the whole time.
What if you were to get high and watch it?
I don't know because I genuinely feel high watching it sober, so I don't know what it would be like.
You
to
might
watch it
overdose.
Get high and watch it. Maybe it'll make all the sense to you.
high. Yeah, maybe.
Just
But,
toke up
like,
a bit,
Abby and
watch
my
it, and
sister
just
and
be
I-
like awakening your mind's eye.
My sister and I watched it together, and we both said that watching it gave us a headache. Like, it genuinely, because it makes
The
you think so
disconnection?
hard.
I think it's the
sometimes.
animation.
It's the animation combined with, like, being overstimulated by just all of it. It's really interesting to me. I don't know.
I didn't have that problem. You might have just been dehydrated.
I don't think you were really watching it, though.
Alex
You
was
don't
like
think I was
looking
really
at it. It's
watching
like,
it?
No, you go on your phone a lot when we watch stuff.
I was watching it.
Stop rubbing your beard on the microphone.
I'm
Sorry.
gonna mute your track.
don't do it. It won't happen again, I swear.
I think it will.
My sideburns were itchy.
So I thought it would be interesting to ask what your opinion is, coming from like an unbiased view, since you haven't seen it.
Well, I kind of want to see it now just because it sounds interesting. Like, there is a disconnect between what they're portraying and what they are talking about, but I think there might be relations to it. Like, how the animations are. I need to see it in order to elaborate further.
Yeah.
But, like, there might be connections to it. Otherwise, it's all just, like, weird, trippy stuff to try and get people to watch it.
Yeah, I watched actually an interview with Duncan Trussell on YouTube where he was talking about the show a little bit. And he said one of the episodes animation was based on a trip that he had when he was on ketamine. So
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so this episode's based off of what I saw when I was on ketamine.
This is turning into the Joe Rogan experience. So I was on DMT once.
Guys, we need to take
try
ketamine
DMT?
and watch this. Watch that episode while tripping on ketamine and it will make sense.
well, when he explained it, it actually did in like a roundabout way make sense.
Now, I got a question. Does Tame Impala do any music for these episodes?
I know that in the interview I watched, Duncan Trussell said what most of the music is, who does most of the music, I can't remember the name, but also he does some of the music in it as well.
Because I was going to say...
all of the end credit music is Duncan Trussell's music.
Because I was going to say it has to be some trippy fucking music for this.
It is.
There's no other way. It's got to be that kind of like weird, it sounds like a lava lamp.
Yeah. Well, the whole show sounds like a lava lamp, if I'm being honest.
I like how that
It's really
expression...
like, it's like if you turned a lava lamp into a cartoon.
It's like if you listen... It's like watching a lava lamp and that's the sound you hear. Is what you see in the lava lamp.
I am leaning more towards it being real deep, the animation, because another thing that Duncan Trussell mentioned in the interview was that, like, they don't explain it in the show necessarily, but in every world they had like a pretty much like a whole set universe for each world that they came up with, all the writers and stuff, and it was based off of like just like offhand things that they would like that are thrown in the show but you would never think of, like the fact in one of the worlds an insult is being called a tart baker, and that was actually based off of like a real story from like human life, not like in the simulated world, but I can't remember the backstory to it, but all the kind of stuff like that is based off of real things in real life. Which I thought was interesting. And I think it would be really cool if they released like maybe like a behind the scenes thing where they just where they just explain all of those connections.
That'd be a pretty freaking neat thing to see. Given like what I'm hearing from this, it's literally just an acid trip.
Yeah, I recommend you watch it.
It does sound like something I
anyone
wanna take a
listening,
peek
I
at.
recommend you watch it too. So our homework is Jared, you and the listeners have to watch The Good Place.
Okay.
Seasons 1 through 3, season 4.
You know I'm
is
not good at homework,
only
Alex.
on TV. And then I think this is a good place to end the podcast.
Wait, I got one more.
And
got
you
one
have
more.
to watch The Midnight Gospel too.
I will. That one I
If
do
you make a
want to check
decision
out.
between The Good Place and The Midnight Gospel, choose The Midnight Gospel because it's shorter.
Oh,
Yeah, those
yes.
are your two homework assignments: The Midnight Gospel and The Good Place. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Bold of You to Say. Next week we're going to talk a bit about the movie industry, and I was going to bring up this episode about something about VR and how I think it saved the Guitar Hero game model, but I think we'll talk about that next week.
And we'll maybe touch back on the Midnight Gospel after Jared watches it and I reanalyze the animation.
Yeah.
All right.
Netflix, give us money.
Yep. In conclusion, Netflix, give us money.
Also, I saw a lot of good things about Raid in like the first like 2 episodes we were doing in the new season. I haven't gotten my check yet. I kind of wish you guys would send it soon. You know?
Yeah, this podcast is no longer fake sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
They won't give me the money I am owed.
Also, like, if Duncan Trussell ever hears this, please invite me to your podcast.
Also, Jeff Goldblum, I know where you're truly from.
Yeah, the gospel of Judas. So in the part where they're like,
I know
Jesus,
you're secretly
I know the
Jesus.
realm that you really came from. That's actually Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, no,
He came from the realm of Barbalo. Whatever it's
Babylon.
a weird name. No, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Babylon was a weird movie.
Well, that's bold of you to say.
I've never seen it.
All right, thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.